terminus, Kamakua, 7500, head for one shot, westbound.
What do you hear from the southeast fork as far as weather there, Don?
Yeah, I guess it's real marginal, but they're getting in. Snowflakes big as a cow, but they're getting in there okay.
Great, I'll be peeling out behind you here about 20 minutes.
Okay, it probably couldn't get much worse, it'll only get better, so we'll give you a report.
Yeah, we got come out of there, which was about a quarter mile with zero visibility on the runway, and it's about a mile to 3 miles, or say about a mile anyway, from down the lower end of the airstrip.
Okay, that stuff seems to be moving pretty quick across there.
Well, it's actually been dropping, and it's hard to tell if it's going to be blowing up the glacier and out, or if it's coming over from this side, but I...
The natives call it Denali, the tall one, and explorers named it McKinley. At 20,320 feet above sea level, it is the tallest mountain on the North American continent. There is a unique group of aviators who make a living from this giant. They are the Denali Flyers.
River.
90 air miles north of Anchorage, nestled in the lowlands at the foot of Mount McKinley, is the town of Talkeetna, the place where rivers meet. This tiny village is home base to 4 air taxi operators who service the needs of hundreds of climbers and sightseers who visit the mountain each year.
That's his telephone.
Telephone.
Uh-huh.
Your fittings. This is all Mary's personal stuff.
Okay, and then if not,
I'm just gonna wait.
all
I
right,
didn't
there.
know if they're gonna.
Does he need anything out of his pack? Any of his personals or identification?
I have all the money and personal.
Should we give that to him now?
Don, for one of yours out on the next trip. I've got just two more, the Japanese party, and then I've got plenty of room. They didn't have much gear, so if you need me to pick up one, I can.
Yeah, that'd be great. Or if it's easier, people, or just throw a couple of duffels or whatever it takes. Anything will help, I guess, at this point.
Okay, will do.
Please know the ceiling has lifted. Come on in. It is clearing.
Authorized by special permit from the National Park Service to operate within the boundaries of Denali National Park, these are the only air taxis in the world that land on glaciers as a daily routine. These air taxis are more than just a ride. The pilots and machines that make up this unique service are the last and the first contact climbers and adventurers have with the real world.
This is fine, except that the passengers are far away.
Yeah, I know.
In 1981, Jim Okonek purchased K2 Aviation after retiring from a career in the Air Force. His interest in flying McKinley developed from his involvement in several air rescue missions on the mountain.
You bet.
Yeah, thank you.
Come and climb our mountain again.
We'll be back. We'll be back.
McKinley is the easiest and least expensive of all the major mountains to climb. The transportation is the key to that. You can fly to Anchorage from anywhere in the world in half a day and be on the mountain within 2 or 3 hours later. Directly from Anchorage International, if you like. From Talkeetna, round-trip air service to the base of the mountain is only $220. Everywhere else, it's a major ordeal to get there. In Nepal, you got to walk for 3-4 weeks, and you have to hire porters. You don't get to the mountain without hiring a whole raft of porters. There's permit requirements and waiting lists in a lot of the areas.
A unique relationship often develops between the men who fly Denali and their clients.
They can expect more than just transportation. They have learned to do so. They correspond with us for sometimes a year or two in advance, and they're full of questions. It's a trip of a lifetime, and it's kind of a mystery in most cases. So they're asking how to get here and what they need to bring, and we help them with all that. It can be bitter cold in the middle of the summer, and that cuts into people's ability to think and react and perform. That combined with the altitude make it extremely difficult. When I drop them off at the glacier, I try to remember to tell every one of them that the important thing is to get down safely. I think some of them lose sight of that in their determination to make the top, and that they can go out there and have an awfully nice time and a very rewarding experience without making the summit. And I go one step further. When I pick them up on the glacier, I don't immediately ask whether or not they made the summit. They have to, first of all, have a good time and a safe time. And I try to instill that into the people that are going, particularly if they're inexperienced here or in major mountains. I have people write back and tell me later or after acclimating to Talkeetna again following a climb, they'll come around and tell me they thought of that often when they were on the mountain. That my remark that the objective is to get down. It can be a cruel, cruel place, and we lose a few people every year, and accidents will happen, but there's no need to overextend yourself.
Flying people and freight to the upper slopes of Mount McKinley evolved into a commercial venture in the 1950s when Don Sheldon pioneered the way to high-altitude glacier landings. Advances in aircraft design and the use of strong, lightweight materials for airplane construction provided Sheldon with equipment that could survive repeated rough landings and takeoffs. These advances in technology and Sheldon's skill as a pilot allowed easy and safe access to the mountain for scientists, map makers, and adventurers. His flying career spanned 2 decades. After surviving several crashes and forced landings, he lost the battle with cancer on January 26, 1975. In 1956, Cliff Hudson began operating Hudson Air Service, hauling equipment, supplies, and passengers to and from the gold mines, trap lines, and homesteads that surround the Talkeetna area.
Well, I don't know.
The mountain became a natural stopping-off place as he made his daily runs.
Climbers on that.
Hudson has more than 30 continuous years of flying experience on and around the mountain.
Well, at that time, there was only one air taxi operator really here. Well, there were two air services. Now we got about 5 air taxi operators up here, and people seem to want to climb it more than they used to. We also have a large influx of foreign people that come in here. Meet so many different people, different nationalities, characters. Some of them I'd rather not meet. You kind of got to handle everybody when you're in that type of business.
Yeah, really.
Well, Mother Nature itself will determine whether a person is going to make a climb up there or not. In the summertime, in winter, or any other time. I've seen moderate temperatures up at 20,000 feet up there before in the wintertime even, but sometimes you don't. And as far as the boys, they come into Talkeet and all hopped up and ready to go, and if we have, a couple of days of bad weather, they go, why can't we fly? Why can't we fly? Let's get up there, and what's the weather like up there? It's 0-0, you can't see nothing. We got good contact with the base camp up there, and anyhow, so pretty soon the weather will let up there. Sometimes you don't get through from this side up there, and they don't understand that, so they just want to get right now. And I tell you what, they get up there, and it's the same way coming back. They get down to base camp, they just can't wait to get on that airplane and get back down out of there. That's about the way 9/10 of them are. We have these jet streams that winds up to, well, they've clocked them up to several hundred miles an hour, 300 miles an hour or more. Aircraft have flown in that stuff. It's well known. Once in a while, that dips down and kind of creams the top of Mount McKinley off up there. And I don't care what's up there. It's going to get blown off, you might say. Climbers included. After a few years, you kind of anticipate that and watch for it, or feel for it. You can't watch for it, you can feel for it. You can also tell on the ridges a lot of times how the wind is blowing, because it's blowing snow off the ridges up there. Occasionally, I remember one time I got stuck in there for 3 nights because of weather. I was socked in and stayed that way for 3 doggone nights. But I slept in the airplane, it was okay. Didn't bother me any. The glacier does change around a lot. For feeling the glaciers, I mean, you have to have a fair depth perception. That's the main thing. Your lighting can be very miserable sometimes, overcast, something like that. And if you don't have something to gauge it by, gauge your depth of field by, you can get in trouble real fast. Throughout the years, if you don't learn a little, better quit flying. And I've been very fortunate not busting up an airplane that I couldn't fly out. And a lot of that was maybe luck or something like that, but still I'm cautious, so I won't go bored into some place unless I look it over real good and maybe change my mind and land someplace else. Like I say, flying is still interesting to me. I'm 60 years old, but I've also passed my physical and feel good. Why, so what? Keep at it.
At the 7,200-foot level on the Kahiltna Glacier, the 4 air taxi services have a joint base camp operation, run during the climbing season of mid-April to mid-July. The camp provides food, shelter, communications, and emergency gear for those who attempt the long climb to the top of McKinley.
You gonna have room for all these boxes here, Ben?
I hope so.
They're not that heavy, they're just big.
Bulky, yeah. Okay. And,
Doug Geeting began flying when he was 14. He spent his early years as a flight instructor, performing aerobatics, towing banners, and working air shows. In 1975, Geating settled in Talkeetna to begin a career of mountain flying.
The dangers of flying the mountain would be getting in over your head. I think getting into places that without thinking in terms of whether I can get in and then get out of there because of the altitude of the glacier, because of the conditions of the glacier, with your airplane, with your crew. A lot of the places that do require a little bit of thinking are some of the glaciers that a climber may want to go into, do a first ascent on a mountain, and nobody's landed there before. So you have to go and speculate, look at the glacier, decide whether or not it's feasible to get in and get out of there. So getting in and over your head and not knowing your airplane, not knowing the conditions, the weather conditions, can result in accidents, and they have in the past. The mountain is to me, it's been sort of like a living and breathing thing. It's been known to eat people. You know, it gobbles them up. It's windy. It's noisy. It's just very alive. And dealing with it on a daily basis, anybody would become very close to something like that. And it really captures your imagination of things too, with just its size, and there's just no other place in the world like it. I think that after a while, and after the time that you spend on the mountain, that you become more familiar with what the conditions are going to be throwing at you. You become more familiar with your landing areas, and you can work the mountain and work the weather a little bit more. I think if you tend to just pry into it a little bit, you know, stick your nose into it and see what it's going to dish out. It could also bite your nose off, and you have to know that very fine line of how far you can push it. And that's the challenge, is working that fine line, is walking that line of knowing of how much you can push your airplane or push your craft and push yourself to working in that environment.
At the 14,000-foot level of the mountain, a team of doctors staffs a high-altitude research facility where they study the combined effects of altitude and latitude on the human body.
How's the conditions up that way?
Yeah, McKinley traffic, 19 Victor is just over second shot. We're heading...
Lowell Thomas Jr. lands his turbocharged Helio Courier at the camp regularly to deliver supplies and ferry down injured or sick climbers. Thomas bought Talkeetna Air Taxi from Roberta Shelton in 1980.
2218, Talkeetna Air Taxi, over.
Yeah, well, I think my plane is the optimum for up there right now. The Helio Courier was designed strictly for short field operations. It's one of the original STOL-type planes, short takeoff and landing. It's got leading edge slats that automatically come out at slow speeds to give you a lot more lift. And it has an enormous flap span. It's almost full span of flaps. And with a big load, I can still land at probably right around 40 miles an hour and land real short, and I can get out quicker than the other type aircraft just because it's got a bigger wing. It's got these high lift devices. Plus, with the turbocharger on the engine, I can develop full power right up to, actually, I can get up to 20,000 feet and still have my maximum permitted climb power.
Don Lee began his flying career in the Alaska bush as a hunting guide and air taxi pilot. In 1981, Lee gave up the wandering life and took a partnership in Talkeetna Air Taxi with Thomas.
Take a couple at a time and just whittle away.
The weather can change very rapidly. You have so many different forces working on the weather up there. You have this tremendous ice and snow, and the cold, the temperature of the snow, and the sun, evaporation. Then you have this warm inland air, and the cold Arctic air all meeting in this one place. And when the dew point and the temperature can change within a few degrees, within an hour you can have a total change in weather. It can be totally, absolutely snowstorm, blizzard, turbulence, to within 2 hours be clear and sunny and calm.
I guess the first thing you look for when there are clouds is indications of where the wind's coming from and how strong it might be, so that you can figure out the downdrafts and whether or not we can get into the places where we're trying to go, like our base camp on the Kiltna or up on the roof. And you look for lenticular clouds that indicate high wind over the summit. And you can also just tell frequently where the wind is coming and how strong it is by the way the clouds boil up over the ridges and then as they pour over the other side. It's just like a waterfall. And you have to learn to read all of those signs before you get in there and commit yourself. Basically, we're landing on the snow-covered parts of the glacier, never on the bare ice. And if there are no marks on the snow at all, there's just no detail. You can't tell where it is. And a whiteout situation is really very dangerous. So you look for visibility, and then, of course, you're looking to see where the crevasses are. They're covered by snow bridges many times, and that can be very dangerous, and you try to get a reading before you land as to where these bridges are and avoid them as best you can. And if you're landing on a glacier in a new area, and I really get a kick out of that, exploring some new part that's never been investigated before, you've got to try to figure out the grade, the slope, and all of those things before you land.
The challenge of flying McKinley is intensified by the knowledge that success is tied to ability and judgment. Meeting the challenge requires total commitment from the pilots who stake their reputations on their skills.
It's such a feeling of accomplishment when you can go in there and combine all your skills, everything you know, everything you've learned, you've lived from your mistakes, and you can go in and pull off a perfectly safe operation, bringing the people in and out, and do it safely and consistently.
But you have to be extremely careful. And I like to think if you really know what you're doing, and you know your limitations and the aircraft's limitations, that you can do it.
The Denali Flyers have chosen lives of high adventure and excitement. Their daily routines are filled with more splendor and danger than most people experience in a lifetime. What is it that keeps these pilots pushing the odds day after day, year after year?
It just gives you such an opportunity to meet so many different people and fly into such remote places and to deal with these people either in their, when they climb, they're so elated that they made the climb, they come back all sunburned and they're real happy, or maybe it was a real bad climb and the weather was really bad and they really had a bad time, or maybe even one of their party had been killed or something. And then you share this tremendous emotional time with these people as well.
If you need a set of plates, we can take some of this stuff. You only need one.
I like it for several reasons, almost more than I can tick off, I suppose. But first of all, I'm a climber myself, and I just love mountains. And I'm a skier, I've skied all of my life, and I've been flying now for about 44 years, ever since World War II. And all of these elements come together for me in flying around on McKinley and Foraker and St. Elias and some of the others. It's a thrilling thing, it's an adventure, it's a real challenge. If you don't do things right, you can pay a hell of a big penalty.
I enjoy showing everybody the mountain. The climbers have a special appreciation for it, but the ordinary visitor and tourist, the McKinley is the #1 attraction in the state, and we have a wonderful clientele of appreciative customers. They tell us that flight around the mountain, the landing on the glacier, is the highlight of their Alaska adventure. And it's fun to be a little part of that. That's what I like.
That's why I say it's almost every trip. It's just different, you know, and it's even hour to hour it'll change. That's what I enjoy. One of the things I really enjoy about it. It's not just like a job to me. I make X number of dollars per flight or whatever. I don't look at it necessarily that way. I look at it it's something I enjoy doing.
It's also a bit of a challenge in that respect for me, that I can work Mount McKinley and I can at least spend my time up there and try to establish just better procedures and in a manner to work at it. It's my adventure up there, I think. It's a way for me to at least to keep the nostalgia going and the fun of it all, you know, the fun of flying. I feel real fortunate, you know, to be able to fly up there.